Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to Oxygen Not Included. Today we're gonna have a Pacu party. What we got going on down here is a whole bunch of Pacus that found their way into my base in the last episode. There's about 8 of them in this one single tile, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is inspiration for infinite free food if I've ever seen one. You might be wondering how in the world do you have infinite free food with a bunch of Pacus in a single tile? Well, I haven't shown this on my channel just yet, so let's head on over into my last experiment. Okay, so this is the Pacu farm experiment. Now this is based off of a lot of findings and workings that have come from the Discord channel over here under Fish Ranch. Now there's a very, very, very long discussion as far as all of this stuff. So I'm just going to sum it up for you, but a lot of this doesn't come from me. It actually comes from Duo Nightshade and the other people that have worked on this. So, okay, so this system over here on the right is what we call the feeder fish. And essentially what this fish is for is to produce eggs. Now, there's a couple different ways we can treat this Pacu. If we wanted to feed it continuously, we would have to feed it a lot of algae, because for each gram of algae, that is 1 calorie essentially for this fish. And this fish will consume several kilocalories per cycle. So it actually takes quite a bit. What the math works out at is essentially 177 kilograms worth of algae per egg that you get from this feeder fish over here. So the other way that we can work this here is by only feeding it 1 kilogram per cycle. The way we do that is by using a little bit of automation. So this is on a clock sensor that we set to 1%, and that opens up a door for just a short amount of time. And during that time, this auto sweeper right here picks up out of a receptacle and then takes a little bit of algae and sticks it inside the fish feeder. And we set that to 1 kilogram so that we don't end up moving a lot of algae in there. So essentially what that works out is to about 13.3 kilograms of algae per egg. During the life of this fish, it will output it will produce 3 eggs. The first 2 eggs will be early on in its life where it's not starving, so it'll just be happy and feeding well. And then it'll go down below its calorie limit, and then it'll end up starving like this, and it'll say X amount of cycles until it dies. Now we reset this timer every cycle because we feed it 1 kilogram worth of food. So that doesn't really suffice how many calories it needs. It only resets this timer. This way we can ensure that this fish will make it to the end of its life. And before then, it will give off 1 more egg, which will then hatch, and the next fish will be born, producing an excess of 2 more eggs. So once this critter sensor here goes above 2, we open up this door, and therefore that's where the eggs are kicked out. So essentially this is where all the eggs go, and those get shipped over to another location. So you can see right there, the door opened up. Now the fish came over here and ate 1 kilogram worth, and you can see how the starving reset. So now that we have these extra eggs over here, kind of ignore the incubator. Essentially, once we have extra eggs, we put them into one single tile over here on the left, and inside of here we just have loads and loads and loads of Pacus. So this builds up over time, since we are getting more eggs out of a single Pacu each time, it goes through its life cycle. We produce more and more Pacus. And each one of these Pacus over here, they're glum and overcrowded, but they still reproduce at 7% per cycle. So their life is not very long, but it's long enough to produce 1 egg during its life. So every 13 cycles or so, it'll produce an egg, and therefore that egg can be rehatched into another Pacu, and the old Pacu will die, and that gives us a little extra food. So right down here, you can see that we have the extra meat right there. So that is 1,600 calories of meat per Pacu that dies. If you wanted to take some of the extra eggs that you get out of here, if you wanted to have more feeder fish right here, because it's really not a bad price for the amount that you get out of it, you can actually go ahead and use an egg cracker and just kind of turn that into a raw egg, and you actually get a fair amount of raw egg out of that. It's enough for 2 omelets per egg. So that's a good deal either way you go. How the math works out at the end of the day is that you need about 13 Pacus per duplicate in order to feed them barbecue every single day. So one of the things that I'm using here is an automated incubator in order to increase the hatching rate of, these little fry eggs here. Normally they take about 5 cycles or so. However, if you run this on a power shutoff like this, and we take a look at the automation, it just runs a power shutoff, and they put it on the power on the back side of that. What we will do is we'll enable this incubator to run for a short amount of time per cycle, just long enough for the dupe to come over and give it the buff that it needs in order to increase its incubation rate. Otherwise, if you leave it plugged in for the entire cycle, it will consume 240 watts continuously. So there was a question right here, do incubators work without electricity? The answer is yes, you can put an egg in there and it will hatch the egg at its normal incubation rate. It just is a normal spot to, a safe spot to put an egg, I should say, rather than in storage where it won't incubate. However, if you do run power to it, this gives your duplicants the opportunity to come by and lullaby the egg. You'll see this right now. So if you take a look at this egg, you can see that its incubation rate is 20% per cycle. You can see it right down there in the bottom right. However, this automation signal just went to the power shutoff. We've now enabled this. So it's consuming power right now. And what I want to see is a duplicant come over here and they're going to lullaby this egg. And therefore, you'll see how big of a difference we'll have with the incubation rate. So you can see iHollywood came over here, put its little buff on that. And now you can see the rate here has increased by 80%. So it will now change 100% per cycle right there. So it only takes one cycle to hatch this fry egg, or right around that. Now normally this would just consume power throughout the rest of the cycle, which would take a lot of juice to run, but that's why we put this on a clock sensor. So you can see that the incubator is now no longer powered. However, the buff remains for the rest of the cycle. So by doing this, I can kind of increase the hatch rate of these fry eggs so that I could populate this even faster. So the idea is to get like 100 and some Pacus inside of here so that you can just get tons and tons and tons of meat out of this thing. Now that is definitely not the only idea when it comes to a fish farm. There's a fair bit more that we could do with the fish farms as far as how you wanted to automate them and whatnot, but this seems like the most straightforward way in order to produce basically unlimited free food. So I'm going to try to implement this in my base now and see just how much meat we can get out of it. Okay, so I'm editing this video the next day and there's been some more developments here and on the Discord over the last 24 hours. So let me just sum that up for you. The first thing is that you want to have more than one fish over here if you really want to build up your meat farm quickly in a reasonable amount of time, because I ran this for the last 60 cycles here and only built up about 54,000 calories of meat. So in order to get the quantity of Pacus over here up quickly, the ideal thing to do is to have more than one feeder farm right here. So maybe set up multiples of these in order to increase that production initially, and then just kind of get rid of them once you get up to a stable amount of Pacus. Or you can just disable them. The other thing to keep in mind here is the temperature for the actual fish environment, so the water that it's in. If it ends up too hot, you'll end up with a bunch of tropical fry, and those tropical fries look like they will actually increase the temperature of the water. So you can see that this water they all started off at the same temperature. This went up to 29 degrees. This Pacu here is maintaining right around 27, but this one keeps getting colder. So you don't really, if you get gulp fish or something like that, what you can do is actually just sweep up the eggs and crack them, turn them into omelets. But the other thing is to try to maintain a certain temperature for the actual pool itself. So to cool it, you have ice cooling loops and all that fun stuff. To heat it up, well, you can also just kind of heat it up with the environment as well. Just be careful not to end up with too many tropical or gulp fish. That's kind of the important thing. Unless, of course, you want to focus on that fish. So there you have it, kind of a rough overview of how to do the gulp fish farm. Once I master it, I'll probably make a tutorial video here in the future. Okay, so now that I know what I'm doing, where am I going to do it? I think right over here is a beautiful place to start off. Look at that, we already got a couple Pacus right there. They're nice and wild. All we need to do is make them tame. And we're going to have 3 feeder fish, which will get me up and running very, very quickly. Not only that, for the power, boom, I got power right there. It's just waiting to happen. Look at that. Look at all that kilograms of steam waiting to generate electricity. So first things first, let me go ahead. They're all pooped at the same time. Sweep this up. And what I want to do is kind of set up my little fish feeder and stuff down here. So, okay, so since this is going to be my feeder farm right down here, what I want to put in place is a fish feeder right there. So we'll slap that guy down. Boom. The next thing I'm going to do is put a mechanized airlock in front of that. That's just going to block the view of the auto sweeper. And since I recently unlocked a couple duplicants with the mechatronics skill down here, I can go ahead and do conveyor rail construction. Otherwise I couldn't do that. So that is kind of a prerequisite to at least what I'm doing here today. Now I want to make this auto sweeper have as much reach as possible, which means that the ladder is in the wrong spot. Meep, you want to make sure, ow. Dupes, help me out. Okay, so I'm going to use a sensor right there. That's just going to be for the day sensor. Perfect. And then the auto sweeper will go right here. If an egg falls over here, then I may just not be able to grab it. Well, you know what? I could probably use an auto sweeper and load the eggs up right there. Okay, we don't need to disinfect this fane. We're okay. All right, so now that that is built, you can see that this kind of blocks the view of the fish feeder. Or it will. If I have to put another spot right there, then I'll do it. Whatever. We can dig this out. We don't need that. So I'm going to go inside of here. I'm just going to say algae, and all I want to do is set this to 1 kilogram. The dupes may go ahead and kind of feed that right now, which is not a big deal considering I have all these pachus. And they're all wild. In order to make them tame, they have to eat out of the fish feeder. Okay, so now that I have essentially this, that thing, and the automation set up. What I need here is a critter sensor that's going to allow me to remove the eggs as they are produced. I suppose another thing I can do down here, since I'm already here, is I can go ahead and just kind of tile in my little fish farm. It doesn't matter if it's polluted water or clean water. Either one works. Now when I go to do this, I want to make the priority high enough. Otherwise, sometimes if you just have one single tile right there, the pressure of the water can be too much and you might break the floor. And in this situation, that would be really bad for these pachus. So I want them to rebuild this as fast as possible. Boom. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, this might look a little weird, but I'm going to put the conveyor loader for the eggs right here. I suppose another spot I could put it is right down at the bottom, which I might do, just in case this thing can indeed see the fish feeder. Although, I don't think it can because it's usually the bottom tile right there. But we will see. I'll plan ahead and try to put it right down here. You can put them underwater. It should be just fine. You know, until somebody patches that. And then I'll hook up a critter sensor. And you know what? I think I can go ahead and just do automation signals straight to that thing. And that should work. If not, we'll see. Come on, pachus. Swim around. What's up? Now, if I could only capture these pachus. How can I get them out of there and over here? You ever see one of those documentaries where people come in with like this weird sling to kind of unbeach whales and stuff? That's what we're doing today. Operation Save the Pachus. Now, they would be just fine in here. I could take their eggs and let them starve to death. But you know what? Let's try to do something a little bit better. So what I'll do is I'll build this tile right here. And because I don't want to lose this function, I'll just put a door right there. And the idea is that I can dig this out right here and release the pachus, and then hopefully they'll just kind of flop over here and through this tile and into the pond. Why are you guys stuck? What? What are you doing? Pachus? What's going on? Do you guys not like this thing down underneath the water? That shouldn't stop you. Fish, why are you stuck? You have a whole pond to swim through. Okay, if I cancel that build, then what? Okay, what I can do is I can put that on its side. Maybe that'll help. Pacu, what are you doing? What are you doing? You dumb fish? Figure it out. Okay, you're not stuck underneath. No? We'll try now, fish. We'll rebuild this thing. There's algae. Are you just so hungry? You guys might be super fed. That might be why. A bunch of snobby pachus. Jeez. I try to give you food, but you don't even want it? Alright. Well, these pachu over here, I think they will be happy to come over here and take all your food away from you. Just remember, you could have had a feast, but now you're stuck in famine. Alright, we'll build another auto sweeper right there. And then I need another location that's going to be a bit like this, where I have an incubator, except for what I'm going to do is automate this incubator. These ones up here are not powered, so it's just a spot to save the egg so it hatches. That way it doesn't get stuck in the storage, because if it's in the storage and it's in the storage for a long time, it will eventually just turn into an omelet and the egg will kick out. So it goes bad, essentially, but we get food out of it. Okay, so during this little moment right here, you can see how it's 1% per cycle. That now has full view of the fish feeder, so that's good to go. So what I want is a receptacle over here, and that's where I'm going to deposit algae to. Now, because my base is the way that it is, that means I need to add a little bit of automation up here. You knew this was coming, didn't you? Yes. Probably the first of many. There we go. One auto sweeper. And then for shipping, what I'm going to do is conveyor loader. And then using a nearly absurd amount of metal, I'm going to go ahead and ship that all the way down here. So yet another reason to kind of get away from algae. So we're not using the diffusers anymore. Those are disabled. All of the oxygen is being supplied by this monstrosity over here. And there are some other ways I could potentially cool the stuff down a little bit more out of here. I think one idea was to use radiant pipes inside of here. I think that's a good idea. And it's yet a new... I was about to say refined metal. Nope. But there we go. And to do what I was talking about last time, what I'm going to do is just get rid of this, deconstruct all of that, get rid of this gas tank, and expand my battery capacity because I just don't have enough. It works the way it is, but it's right on the edge. Okay, I think a great spot for the incubators and whatnot, I'm trying to keep things kind of in line with certain areas right here. So that would be right there. Stuff is kind of over here as well. That way if I need to move things around like this, I can kind of move over there. Just so I can potentially do more transportation tubes and whatnot when I get to that stage. Which I'm currently not at right now, but... we just freed all the Pacus! Look at them go! We're gonna get a follow cam on this. Okay, don't... just don't... Ooh, it's a fish race. Look at this. I wonder who's gonna win. You know, of all the things I thought I'd be doing with my life, this was not one of them. But look at this, they're just about to freedom. We've saved the Pacu. Live and make many eggs, please. Could you swim a little further, please? You got so close, but in the end, you're still really far away. Come on, fish. Come on, you can do it. Swim. There they go. There they go. All right, everybody's happy. Overcrowded just a little bit. So the real question is, how many fish can I have down here? Because I have too many right now. So I think the answer here is I gotta get rid of some extra fish here. And look at this one. Age 20, age 17, gone. Your old scales are not welcome in my base. Not at all. All right, we can go ahead and leave this one open. That little plan worked out. How about that? Okay, getting back on topic, the incubators. Right down here. Boom. Okay, so there's where I'm going to place them. I think I'll have a couple of them because I want lots of food. Let's be honest, I just want to have lots of food. If my goal is infinite, then I can't sell for just like one incubator. That wouldn't be right at all. Okay, so the next thing is that I need some juice to power those guys. And I have juice right down here now, don't I? Let's go ahead and at least charge these batteries. We'll just hook the automation up to that. Beautiful. Oh, all this combat. Get ready, fish. Death. Death is coming for you. Bam. Still overcrowded. Well, we have to take another one out. Hey, look at that. Now everybody's happy. All it took is a little bit of death. That's right, fish. Be afraid. Oh, this has worked out good. Now I have a little bit of water on top, so that will no longer let off polluted oxygen. Okay, so critter eggs are going to go inside of here. But, yeah, I can select any of these. As long as I don't click allow manual use, the dupes won't run eggs all over my base. So that'll be good. It can only be swept in by the auto sweepers. No, stop eating all my algae. No, stop it. Dupes, sweep. All right, so I have the power over here up and running, so the steam turbine can now kind of do its thing. Okay, so I set all of these to below, right? Except for that one. These two are open. Okay, and now I have a renewable source of power to kind of run all of this stuff. Definitely going to have to do the power distribution here pretty soon. Although I think there's one other piece of equipment I want to set up before that, and that is to tap into this volcano down here. We've done it in a video. I want to make it happen in a game like this. That's a challenge, because if you get this one wrong, man, you can really melt down your base, because that thing puts out a ton of heat. It is a volcano, after all. Oh, how about this? I've filled up this oil loop. That's full? Are any of these tanks not full? Okay, just this one. And I don't have a use for either of these just yet. But how about that? That's cool. Well, good deal. All right, construction down here continues. Seem to be doing a good job. Just need to sweep all of these debris up, please. No, cancel that one. Okay, so I'll put the conveyor receptacle up here for the eggs. So once I load it up down here, then we will just convey it up. And what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and put the fish release right here. I like to use the fish release. It's just kind of a, well, to be honest, it's kind of fun. You watch the fish like fall. And then for the power shutoff, I'll stick that right there. And the automation to run that, I'll put the clock sensor right above it. There we go. And then these will be set to fish fry, continuous, and I'll do that for all of them. All right, how am I doing up here? Look at this. Look at this thing run. Ah, all that power. Beautiful. How about some more iron? Yes, thank you. What? You have like no skill. You have all these skills and you... Okay, fine. Operate. There you go. I feel like all my dupes operate. Only one is an artist. But I mean, let's be real. The mechatronics engineering, that's perfect. I can always like shake my dupes up and reset them though, if I really wanted to. It's not a big deal. Improved digging. Yeah. Plus 400 kilograms to carrying capacity. That's like a pretty good one to have. Not that these dupes can't already carry several tons because they're super, but for the rest of the dupes down here, the more normal duplicates, oh yeah, they already have all that. Might want to throw learning in there as well. Apparently they can learn skills a little bit faster if they're smarter, but if that was the case, then these super dupes would have a million levels of intelligence already or whatever. Merc, why are you so high? What? How do you have such a high morale, dude? Are you sneaking barbecue when I'm not looking? I think you're sneaking barbecue. He's going to cook. Smelled flowers. Oh, he smells flowers all day. Maybe that has something to do with it. No, okay, let's take a look here. Last cycle's decor. Gorgeous! Plus 12. He spends his entire day here. That's why he's so happy. Fair enough. Yet another reason to replace all my tiles with gold. One day. It's always good to have goals, right? You know what? It wouldn't hurt to have a few more, pieces of artwork around. Operation decor. These bathrooms. Yeah, they could use a little... Yeah, there we go. Perfect. That'll help. This entire time, Super Meep, when he was up here, he's like, oh, I'm going to put in crown molding. Unlike everybody else. You sneaked it in there, didn't you? Why is this one so much worse than the others? Super Meep, seriously, what did you do to this bathroom to make its decor so low? There must be one stinky fart in there. Boom, there we go, that should help. Don't mind me while I get completely distracted for what I'm doing down here. And all the dupes are like, oh, hey, look, this is close by, I'll do that. Yo, and who left a few grams of water down there? Thane. Alright, that's looking a little bit better. Beautiful. See how glum this looks? Not very nice, is it? Whoa, 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 whoa. Who left this door open? That's a death ray of bad decor. Look at that. Just blasting out of that door. We gotta close that sucker off. Somebody, please? Okay, so now that this thing is set up and nearly has power, what I want to do is fill this with algae. Boom, just like that. So when we go to sweep around from around the map, right, wherever we're digging, all the dupes bring everything back to here. However, now we can use the auto sweepers to pick up out of this spot down here and load it onto a conveyor, which will then ship it wherever it needs to go. One spot we might put it is right over here. There's a little bit of algae that could be delivered into this location. But then again, it's very, very close by, so I don't think it's a big deal. All right, so yeah, that's helped the decor a little bit. I think the bathrooms are looking a little bit better. I don't want my dupes getting stressed out. All right, so there we go. There goes a bunch of algae. Shipping around 20 kilograms per spot, so that'll last a good long time. We now have a shipping overlay that we can use. So you can see that goes down here, and it loads up in this receptacle, which won't do anything at the moment. Apparently we haven't connected the power. Dupes, you're leaving me hanging. You had one job, but you decided to go and do decor instead. But would you look at that metal sculpture? That's a work of art. There you go. Delicious. All I want you to do is to not be wild. So what I think I want to do here, if I take a look at the automation, I think what I'm going to do is just set that to full right now. And this thing will kind of deliver to this over and over again. Or maybe, here's what I'll do. Until they're no longer wild, I'll set it to be about 20%. Right in the middle of the cycle. Boom. There we go. So by feeding them just 1 kilogram at a time, a different Pacu comes over there and eats. There we go. There's a different one. Otherwise, if I were to just feed it like a whole bunch, then one fish would eat all of it. Isn't that a nice sound? I want to hear that all day. It kind of sounds like a golf ball falling in the little hole or something. Mixed in with like some fingernail scratching. Okay, so you can see that by eating out of this fish feeder, their wildness goes down 15% per cycle. I guess I have some algae on top of this, so this thing's just going to keep running until I sweep it up, but that's the idea. Now, I don't think this is necessary to replace this with granite, but I think it's a good idea. A while back, I did a whole test to see just how much like a single tile could hold as far as its water pressure is concerned. It really came down to how tall the water was stacked on top of it. Different materials held different amounts, but I think there was a patch and stuff that kind of changed some of that. I don't remember all the details on it. Trying to remember everything in Oxygen Not Included seems impossible. Okay, so how many critters do I have down here right now? 1, 2, 3. Well, I could just look at this, right? Won't it tell me? Outside of a room. Okay. So I have 7 in there right now. So that's 12 across. Let's see how tall we can go. That would be 8 right there. So that's actually a really good volume. It'd be 96 in total. How's the temperature? 30 degrees Celsius? That's perfect. It's currently 29.8 in there. So if I look at this right here, this is the Oxygen Not Included database. You can see that if it's anywhere from 30 to 5, then they might have a slight chance of gulp fry. So really, what I want it to do is be right between 30 and 35. So like 32 degrees would be just absolutely perfect. Because I really just want Pacus. And it is like 30.31 over here. And only 29 over there. So really, what is the temperature of the fish? 30.6. Well, that's like perfect. Okay, so in order to get this sensor to work, it needs to be in a room. So there we have it. And these fish are completely happy, just the way they are. All right, excellent. Now I do have this auto sweeper over here. And I also have this auto sweeper over here. So what that means is there's a couple more things that I need to handle down here. So that's going to be eggshells and the meat. I need both of those. Ooh, I guess I need one more too, don't I? So that would be better off right there. That way both of these can reach that. Because polluted dirt is going to be given off by these as well. Not a lot. So as they eat algae, it turns into polluted dirt at 50% of its initial mass. So is it worth it to ship lime all the way up here? Probably, because I will have more of it here as well. So then that goes all the way down here. And I'll just get rid of that. Receptacle right there. So this will be eggshells. All the way up over here. And this is where I'm going to convert eggshells into lime. And I can do that with this little auto sweeper arm right there. Now what am I going to do with this space right in here? Man, that might just be the spot for power distribution. I'm trying to envision where I want to put that. I don't really want to put it over here because I might just expand this further down. But I guess I can only go that far until I start to mess with this stuff over here. I don't know. I was trying to keep it out of the middle of the base. Part of me wants to take this up here and move it down right above this. But then the dupe would have to run farther to get to the incubator, which I really don't want them to do. Matter of fact, I'd like them to be able to just go inside of here without an atmo suit and do what they need to do. Kind of just rework all of this up here. Although in order to make that work, I think I need to really just address all of this slime lung. So I'll try to put a couple buddy buds over here and just take care of that. You can see that I've been using a lot of these deodorizers just to convert it to oxygen. And that over time will take care of the slime lung all by itself, but I kind of want to help it along. You know, they're staying wild. That's not good. Anyhow, we can see this thing working now. So you can see the steam turbine is running. So it's pulling that steam out of here, converting it to electricity. And then this thing, once it reaches its maximum amount, turns it off, and then it just waits for more of it. Now, the thing that these doors are doing, it's sensing what temperature it is down here. The main thing with this turbine is that you don't want it to run over its maximum amount, which is 850 watts. So by blocking a couple of the inputs, you basically throttle down the steam turbine. Because once you go above that maximum, you don't get more power out of it, you just push more heat out of the turbine itself. So that means this cooling loop has to deal with even more. You can see right now it's a massive 6 degrees in there, but so you can see here by having 2 ports open, this thing is currently generating at a rate of 683 watts. And that has everything to do with the amount of the temperature of the steam that's running in. So it's running at 307 degrees Celsius, but we're only outputting 800 grams of water. That can go up to 2 kilograms with all the ports open. But we wouldn't want to have all those open right now because it'd be way too high. So once again, that's the automating the steam turbine. And it really just has to do with these doors, setting them to below 269, 225, and 200. If it gets really, really, really hot, you can actually use this last door here, but that will throttle the steam turbine down to just, I think, 425 watts. It's not quite as efficient, so I kind of just leave that one open. I have plenty of buddy buds, so let's go ahead and throw a couple of those down. Maybe that'll help, maybe it won't. And there's a lot of slime lung around, so if they don't have a spot to grab onto, I'm not sure that their germs will do anything. Ooh, that's currently running the entire cycle. What I want to do is have the dupes be awake, and then set that for like 8%. Ooh, you can see the egg showing up there. Perfect. So we'll incubate yet another one. Oops, I should have hooked this in over there rather than the other side. Oh, dupes, just leave the door open. All they want to do is deliver to it. There you go. Wait, where's that elder fish? I saw you. Get out of here. Okay, so edible stuff like meat, boom, that'll go up right here. Maybe one day I'll ship it all the way up over there. I think I need to expand my food storage. I mean, I have 823,000 right now, but I seem to be creating more and more food as fast as possible. So maybe I'll store my food in chlorine up like this right up here. Oh, that's why. My bad. I plugged all of that into the wrong stuff. So the auto sweeper and everything are just not running. Don't drop the fish right there, please. No, just don't touch that fish right now. I don't have that set up. Okay, so let's set that up so that the fish is ready to do its thing. I tell you what, let's make it out of window tile. I think that's a good way to go because it's a fish bowl. Get it? Yeah. I'm gonna use a bottle emptier. Put a little water in the fish bowl. Dude, you guys are getting a diamond fish bowl. That's pretty fancy. What's that decor like? Look at that, plus 50. Not a bad place to be for you and 100 friends. All right, stop being wild. Hey, that fish has got to move. Move, fish. What's your deal? Remember that whole thing I was saying about one fish doesn't get all the food? These fish, let me tell you what. Well, here we go. Have 2 fish feeders. Now think about, oh, is it the same fish run over there? Okay, no, that's a different fish. Lower priority, 4. Ah! Okay, so just so that these fish don't eat me into an early grave here, I'm gonna go ahead and shut their power off a couple times throughout the day. And that's how I'll automate all of that. Temporarily, at least for now. So this way I can set 3 different times throughout the day that the fish feeder will run, and we can supply some algae to these other fish to hopefully break their wildness. So 3% there, 3% at 33, and 3% at 66. There we go. Problem solved. For now. Okay, so just to go over what I have over down here, it's eggshell, polluted dirt, meat, and then right down here is the actual eggs. So there we go. We feed it up. Okay, so I need water. Please auto bottle. That way this little fish has someplace to go home to. Oh no. Oh no. I have an issue with my liquid. Ooh, that's not going to be good. The pipes have backed up. You know, I suppose that could be worse. This is a good opportunity to sweep up some of this water and, well, give it to our fish. Rather than nice clean water, let's go ahead and give them polluted water. Oh man. Oh, the mess. Hey, let's correct this over here real quick, guys. Predator level 9. Thank you. Okay, quick, we need to build this to clear the pipes out. There you go, Stinky. Good job. Oh, build it! Kyle! Why do you take so long? And there you go. All right, good deal. That is a Band-Aid, but you know what? I'll be okay with it. All right, fine. We won't put polluted water in there. We'll keep the fish happy. That would have been awfully mean to put them in polluted water. Polluted water it is. There you go. Swim around in dupe pee. Think about that. I've heard it tastes like Gatorade. All right, so what do we have going on down here? Are these Pacu? I think we'll end up with one tame Pacu pretty soon. That's good. We can get rid of the polluted dirt here. You have to click on allow manual use for that. Same with that. Why don't I have any oxygen? Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about what I was doing over here. My bad. Sorry, dupes. My dupes are wondering where all the oxygen went. Yes, I forgot to hook it back up. Sorry about that. That explains why the water backed up too. Over there, put a manual airlock right there just to kind of hide all the nasty stuff behind it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to get extra hydrogen out of this, ever. But if I do, we'll store it up here. Okay, who is tame? Tame? No. Oh, there you are. Are you hiding up here? All right, there we go. So now I've set up 6 different times throughout the day that they get fed. Hopefully that will allow different Pachus to eat out of the fish feeders here. Oh, there's a tame one. Excellent. Of course, it's the one that knows how to get to the fish feeder, isn't it? Of course you do. All right. Now, not to be too distracted by all of that, because I have some important things that I need to deal with. That door was in the wrong spot. Needs to be over here. Just like that. And then the gas reservoir. Boom. Right there. All right, there we go. Now we're running the oxygen. That's fueling up the hydrogen generators. That is back up and running. Which means the base can go back to actually having oxygen inside of it. And that also means that I can continue to consume more and more of this water. That was starting to cause some issues. Dude, this tame Pacu is eating all the algae, no matter what I do. It just laser beams right on over to it, while the other Pachus never get anything. You drive me nuts! Well, in that case, forget it. It is always that Pacu. What's up with that Pacu? What is up with that Pacu? No other fish. Look, the tame one, boom. Every single time. Any other fish could have grabbed that. Nope, just that Pacu. Huh. It's a conspiracy, I tell you. Well, if that's the case, then I'm only ever going to have one tame Pacu in there. There's just nothing I can do. Nothing efficient. I could pump in tons of algae to that area, but I don't care. I'm not doing it. Too bad. The rest of you suckers, you're just gonna get turned into meat. And just so you know, it's literally your own fault. I gave you all the opportunities in the world to eat from a different feeder, but you didn't do it. Survival of the fittest. Only the tame survive. How are these terms doing? This is ridiculous. The buddy butt over here is actually doing a fantastic job. Look at that, pushing back all of that slime lung. Get out of here, nasty slime lung. Not needed at all. Whenever the food comes out, the dupes will just kind of go run down here and grab it. Not a big deal. You know, like the temperature and everything over here is really not that bad, so I'm thinking it's time just to open this area right here up to the dupes. Okay, what was I doing up here? Shipping! That's what it was. Conveyor loader. You're gonna go right there. Thank you. And you're going to load up eggshells. I got a gulpfish. Well, might as well incubate that. What? Alright, just drop it on the ground. Sorry, bud. Here you have it, fish. How do you like your new little fish bowl? It's real nice. I made it just for you out of diamond. They're kind of glum about it, aren't they? Boom! Look at those eggs go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Since all of these are like the same age and they all happen to be wild except for one, they'll probably all die at the same time, which makes me think I might have to seed this with a couple more fish down there. Or maybe just set that high for now. Maybe. I suppose what I could do is this. if I needed to recirculate the fish, I could just drop them over here. And then if I put a door right there, I just opened up the door, I just plop them right back down here. I mean, for now, since it's way up here. There will probably, no, I'm guessing there will be something built eventually right here, but. All right, so there we go. I could just enable that one. So rather than dropping them over here, I could just drop them over there. I'll take care of it. Awesome, so you can see that this is working. We have a lullaby, so 80% per cycle right there. Boom, 80% per cycle. Excellent. Okay, but one thing I need to do here is open this up to the duplicates on the inside, so that they don't have to go through the exosuit or the atmosuit checkpoint. Okay, so we have a couple of fish here. We got some eggshells. Those are getting shipped away. Bam! Take that, Pacu fry. Bye-bye! Okay, that'll be enough. We don't need more than one, so I'll just move the rest of them over here to the right. Blink. There you go. And unfortunately, that's a wild Pacu fry. Oh, I would rather you be tame. Oh, there's a tame, but that's a gulp fry. I don't need a gulp fry. I need just the normal fry egg, please. All right, so I currently have 5 fish in this one tile right there. Well, that's doing pretty good. Let's see here. Is anything else having issues? How you doing, Slicksters? You're starving. That's unfortunate. I feel like you're always starving, though. There's a random hatch just running around. We'll do something with him. Voles are taking a poop on our compost piles. That seems to happen all the time. This area is just full of babies. Look at that. Little hatchling, a little stone hatchling. I don't know how you ended up over here and not over there. I blame the dupes. Dracos are just running all over the place. Again, I have no idea how you ended up here. Oh, wait. Yeah, I do. You came out of the printing pot. Same with this little guy. How's the oxygen situation? Okay, it's doing a little bit better. Oh, I run out of liquid. I gotcha. That's what's going on. All right, there we go. That'll work better. All right, there we go. Finally got that last piece of automation in here. So that should, this critter thing here should disable this. It wasn't doing that beforehand, so now with that in place, the system here should be complete. Maybe. We'll have to see how well it works. You can see I have a lot of Pacus over here. 1, 2, 3. I'm up to 9 fish over there. So this is kind of a long-term strategy. It's going to take a long time to build up a ton of fish, but we'll see how many I end up with here over the next couple of episodes. So one of my little side projects here that I'm working on is to unjam this natural gas geyser a little bit. This thing is still continuing to kind of push a little bit of a vacuum, but I kind of want to move some of this gas out of here and try to automate this so that it doesn't get stuck again. But I think the next thing that I want to try to tackle, I'm not sure if it's going to be this or power distribution, but I might try to tackle that. Plastic's up there too. I don't know, we'll have to see. At any rate, we'll tackle that in the next episode. If this looks like the channel for you, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. As always, stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.